All right, Megan, be honest. If 11 of your colleagues weren't at work, just missing, would you show up?
Yes, because I'd want to investigate. No way.
So this is something that's going on right now, and some people are touting it as a conspiracy theory. Others are saying, no,
how
it's
is
a
that
big deal.
conspiracy? I mean, if everybody in the same business are ending up, I mean, I could see if they all had like some sort of weird cancer or something, but like these people are working with anti-gravity,
Right.
okay, and they're part of NASA and all these different
MIT, all these different laboratories and scientists.
So years ago, there was a guy that actually created an engine where he could go 200 miles on 1 gallon of gas.
Wow.
And word got out and the oil stock markets crashed.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And so what they're talking about is if all of these people are part of that and it gets out, this everything that we use for energy
becomes obsolete, essentially.
Right.
And loses its value. There goes the economy, because our economy is based on they call it the petrodollar, because it's based off of the oil economy. So I don't know. What do you think? Not a conspiracy? FBI and I guess a House Oversight Committee just committed to investigating these 11 scientists as missing. So that seems to be legitimate.
Well, David Wilcock supposedly killed himself yesterday. And all of these people were part of this show called Ancient Aliens. A lot of them were. And so
either missing or dead.
Yeah. Some of them cancer, they said. A lot of them, go into a forest and never come back. One guy was
Stay out of that forest.
One guy was missing, and then they found his car at an airport for like 4 hours. It was like in a Tesla or something, and then he ended up dying. Like it's just too coincidental. I mean, at what point do you say? I mean, at Gerber Injury Law, if we had 2,000 employees and already 11 employees that worked on the same subject were dead or missing, wouldn't you be like, something's up?
I mean, I'm surprised that it took them to 11 people before they started.
It's more than that from what I heard over the years, but
I believe it. But it's when you have people researching such amazing forward technology, is it any wonder to anybody that other countries, other powers are watching what they do, and maybe they get to the point where they don't want them doing it, or they want that power for themselves? Is that shocking to anybody?
No. And it's not shocking that they control everything with money. I mean, look at the mafia.
Right.
I mean, what was the one movie? Better Call Saul? Not movie, TV show Better Call Saul.
Right.
They're talking about, Sylvester Stallone goes into this town.
No.
I just mixed up the shows.
That's not Better Call Saul.
We watched them all at the same time. What was that?
That's
show?
Tulsa.
Tulsa
King. Yeah.
But anyways, you get the point. Nobody wants to lose money. Nobody wants to lose control.
Right.
And I think this is showing that something's up and somebody doesn't want to lose control. And they what if they created or found something out, these scientists?
Right.
And then they don't trust them being alive because someone else is going to get their hands on these scientists.
But it's so easy for people to cry out that it's a conspiracy theory. It's so easy for them to say, no, nothing's connected. Don't look over here. You're just being conspiracy theorists.
Well, I think the pendulum swings. I mean, the term conspiracy probably was created by those people that are doing all this crap.
Right.
And so right now, a lot of things are conspiracy. But this, I think you can look at and say, it's more than a conspiracy.
Right. It's that old joke. Am I paranoid? Or are people actually following me? Honestly, it fits a pattern.
Oh yeah.
And I, thankfully,
I think whoever also out there knows about any of this and you're a scientist, I would start hiding.
Right. Well, and it's confusing too, because of not just, first of all, the ones going missing, that's really, really weird. ones ending up dead where they don't know what happened to them. Also super weird. Where it kind of really throws off the trail are ones where they report that the person killed themselves. And it's like, well, they either were suicided, forced to kill themselves.
Well, the one guy, David Wilcox, he even said the night before he was not suicidal.
Yeah, crazy.
He talked about not killing yourself.
What's that whole deal with people using the term unalived? What is that?
Because you can't say kill on TikTok or suicide.
Oh, so they've unalived themselves.
Yes.
So these 11, they all have these top secret clearances, and they're either dying or missing. What if it were a foreign power that was behind all of this? Have you thought about that?
I have, but like, what are they going to do? Just kidnap them and take them to their side? Or are they getting paid off to go over there and give them the information?
Well, that's a great point. I mean, let's think about it from this perspective for a second. What if they're defecting to other foreign powers, foreign governments, and they're deciding, you know what I'm researching, this power is too great to be trusted with the people here because they've shown themselves to not be trustworthy. I'm going to take it somewhere else.
But you know what's silly to me? Is it's eventually going to come out. I mean, like, electricity is here.
Right.
I mean, unless they turn back the clock and go back to the Stone Age, which, they sometimes want to do.
We know in world history that governments have always, call it poached. They've poached scientists and experts from other countries to advance their own agenda. They did it in World War II with Werner von Braun. He was the I guess, call him the father of the space program. They brought him from Germany along with other people that worked under him. And that's what they built NASA off of, is a German scientist who was a rocket engineer. They built this NASA program off it, all of the bombing capabilities, the long-range missiles, all based on his work.
So is that where people are dying in front of other people, like a body double?
I mean, I think you have to consider that. I mean, how many times have people joked with this celebrity or that celebrity? Oh, they're no longer themselves. It's somebody, they've been replaced. I mean, I think you have to consider it, right?
Yeah, but I think this has been going on forever. I think our government knows what's happening. I mean,
So then
it's been out that they talked about aliens. Trump even said that was classified information. Obama shouldn't have been talking about aliens being real.
Well, so the frustrating thing there, again, if that's the case, is what's this whole fake investigation then by the FBI and this House Oversight Committee?
I think elites run everything. And I think things get leaked out because people know, hey, these people are all missing. And so then we pick up the scraps and we're like trying to be investigators when they already know what the heck is happening. And we're not going to be told, and we're never going to know.
Yeah, and then they're trying to control the narrative by saying, oh, it's just conspiracy theory. Very possible.
I mean, that happens with vaccines. I mean, not to throw that out. It happens with everything that they want to make money on. Right. And let nobody, hey, but that vaccine made my arm fall off. Oh, your arm was about to fall off anyways. It has nothing to do with the vaccine.
Turns out, ivermectin, pretty good medication.
Yeah.
We were told the exact opposite.
Right.
And that was just a couple of years ago.
It's kind of weird. When I take this medication, this happens. When I don't take it, this happens. Look the other way.
Right.
Smoke and mirrors about everything.
Oh my gosh. So much of the stuff that you've uncovered even lately with medications and how it's helping you with anxiety from perimenopause and all that. It's just, why didn't they know that? Or why didn't anybody tell you beforehand?
We are human walking petri dish. You don't think that they don't know if they add certain things or don't add certain things? I mean, we're all different, obviously, but it's like we are all, they know what happens to us. I just don't think that it benefits them to have us live a long time.
Right. I think you're probably right. And what's coming
especially these scientists.
Right.
Definitely doesn't benefit them.
Yeah. I mean, and what's coming out now with what they're saying about like nicotine patches and all that. I mean, there's so many benefits for things that they were trying to downplay for so long. 3 seconds of your voice. That's all it takes these days with AI to ruin your life.
Yeah, they can copy it. And there was a TikTok that I saw where this dad said that he heard his daughter say, "I'll be there in a minute, Dad." And he thought, I didn't tell her anything. And he went into the other room and he said, "Where are you going to be in a minute?" And she said, "Well, you just called me on my computer and you said you were at the front door and wanted me to come get groceries." And he looked at her computer and it was Dad and it was his voice. He heard a voice. It was a voicemail. And so she messaged back that she'd be right there. And it was his voice, or she said it was his voice. I apologize. She said it was his voice and said, "I'm at the front door with groceries. Can you come open the door?" I mean, this has been going on for a while where parents even, the child calls and says, "You need to bring money. I'm in an accident or I'm at the hospital or whatever."
Or I'm kidnapped and you have to bring ransom. This is terrifying stuff because now they're not only just cloning the voice, but think about how much just, the average person has online on their Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, all these different social media outlets. And they can grab their image, they can get just a little bit of their image and a little bit of their voice, and they can recreate people entirely with AI and make them do whatever they want, say whatever they want. It's really, really scary stuff.
And I mean, obviously you could probably sue someone if they did that knowingly, like a friend, mimicked you and did something illegal. But a lot of times these people are just scammers. You can't find out where they came from. Yeah,
well, that's the thing. And AI is only getting better and stronger and faster every day. And it's outpacing any controls over it. It's outpacing the law about it. It's really, really dangerous for everybody.
So what would you suggest people do as a family?
Well, okay. So one of the things is you've got to come up with a code word, a safe word, a password for your family. And it's got to be something that's not obvious to everybody else. And in those settings, when somebody calls you and it's seemingly as insignificant as, "I have groceries at the front door, come meet me." It should be a prompt. Okay, give me the code word. And you have to produce the code word.
But how would she have known? She didn't know her dad was home. It came from his number.
Yeah.
And it sounded like him.
That's what I'm saying.
Like how would she even ask? How would she know to ask, what's the code word?
Just by the fact that a family member says, "Come here, bring this, meet me somewhere," and you're not face to face with them, we're all going to have to start thinking in terms of our safety. And if it's something as dumb as that, okay, give me the code word and I'll be there. And if you don't get the code word,
that's just the front door. I don't think if you called Skyla and said, "Hey, Skyla, I'm at the front door. Can you help me get groceries?"
No, as of right now, no. She would come to the front door, or Skyla probably wouldn't. She'd probably tell me, "No, do it yourself." But you know what I mean? It as of right now, no, we don't.
Her under the bus.
Yeah, we don't have any of those safeguards in place. But don't you think it's something that we ought to consider? Just knowing how pervasive and how dangerous this is.
I would say, if it's out of the ordinary, if you called her and said, "Can you let the dogs in the backyard?" How would she, "Dad, what's the code word?"
No, I mean, there are times where,
if they were listening to conversations or knew, that's like scary. At least we have glass on our doors, but if somebody didn't, and it's like, they've listened to conversations, simple everyday conversations.
This is going to get like passwords on your bank account or on your different accounts that you have. You're going to have to rotate the code word periodically with your family. Okay, everybody, we're changing the code word. Now it's this.
No, but how do you know when to ask the code word?
You just, if there's any indication that I can't see or I don't know where I'm going or who I'm meeting with, you're going to have to ask for confirmation.
So if you called me on my phone and said, "Hey, babe, come meet me out in the casita. I got to show you a case."
Right. What's the code word?
What?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
I mean, it is a little bit ridiculous.
I'm not going to be asking you a code word for every single thing you ask.
But don't you think that
I'm saying that's how scary it is.
If this blows up bigger and bigger, yeah, you're going to have to take those types of precautions.
If you called me and said, meet me out in my truck and you're going to wash it, I'll be like, dude, code word. I don't wash your car.
No, good point. But think about this. We were just talking about this earlier because we got an email exchange with our CFO at the office. And then before we started recording here today, I just showed you another email and he sent it over to me. And it's this long email exchange supposedly between me and this other company about this work that they're doing for us. And okay, here's the invoice. Great. I'm authorizing payment on this invoice and I'm copying our CFO and instructing him to pay the invoice. And he sent it over to me saying, they're saying this is overdue. We've never discussed this. And I'm thinking, no, it's completely made up. That's not AI. That's not the voice in the face, but it's going, it's everywhere right now.
Well, we had someone, a colleague that she said she was scammed out of $60,000.
True.
It was called the
Geek Squad
scam, where they send you an email saying we charge you $300. You call the number to say, I want a refund. And when they refund you, they supposedly put $30,000 in your bank account because there's no decimal.
Right.
And for her situation, I don't know. It's very confusing. They said she could fix it by going to the bank and getting cash $30,000.
Right. She volunteered to just transfer the money back. And they said, no, that's not going to work like that. Go get cash and we'll send somebody out to meet you.
She was stressed because we both were like, I wouldn't have gone and gotten cash and taken pictures and codes and all that stuff. It'd been like, too bad. But
right.
No, there's lots of AI type scams.
Yeah, but I'm thinking now, we were talking about code words. I'm going to have a code word between the CFO and me regarding paying invoices. And if he doesn't get a code word from me, he doesn't call me on the phone.
What is the code word going to be?
I'm not saying now. But I think we need to have a code word because he's getting these. This is 2 in 2 weeks now.
No,
and if he were not being careful about it, he might just be sending off checks for invoices that aren't real. And then I wouldn't necessarily catch it until at some point I'm going through the books and verifying what he's done. Right. So I think businesses need to have this. If you've got any division of labor where somebody else is paying invoices and you're running the show, you're going to have some type of verification system in place. Hey, real quick, if you're new here, my name is Ken Gerber, and I run Gerber Injury Law here in Phoenix, Arizona. If you've been hurt in an accident, I want you to hear me clearly. The insurance company is not on your side. They have lawyers working for them from day one. You deserve the same. At my firm, we take on car accidents, slip and falls, and all types of personal injury cases across Arizona. And here's what I tell every single client. You pay nothing unless we win. No upfront costs, no risk, just me and my team fighting hard to get you what you're actually owed. If you've been injured, don't wait and don't settle cheap. Give us a call. The consultation is completely free, and I'll personally make sure we take care of you. All right, back to the show.
So get this. A Scottsdale woman sent this dude $55,000 that said he loved her, and she didn't even know him. I mean, like, what? How do you do that?
This is another area where scams are getting bigger and better with technology, and they're utilizing AI for it. They're utilizing fake people to romance people and bilking them out of money.
Well, you know what's funny is a friend of ours, an acquaintance actually, she told me, I met this guy online and she's in her 60s and she showed me his picture. Very handsome man.
Right.
For her.
Right.
You know, not that she's not a pretty woman, but they are not matching. I mean,
no, I get it.
He was younger or whatever,
yeah.
It looked like. And you know how you just look at somebody, it's not that she's not beautiful, they just don't have the same look.
Right.
And she said, we're going to be together. He lives across the country. And I said, well, what do you mean you're going to be together? Well, we're going to be together. We really love each other already. And it was like 2 weeks. And I said, oh, okay. And she has her kids here. She had multiple businesses. I called her like a month ago just to ask her about something with cats because she has a bunch of cats. And she's like, oh, I don't live there anymore. I moved to Mexico. And I'm like, what? You moved to Mexico? Wait a minute. With that guy? She goes, well, yeah, I sold everything and he's supposedly coming down to meet me here in Mexico with a guy she's never met.
What?
And I still have not talked to her since then, but I don't know. It's like,
she could be one of these stories.
no, exactly. So many people are so desperate for connection and love that I think one of the people was willing to pay the money to an AI knowing the person's not even real because they're that lonely. That's how sad and lonely this country is.
That's awful. That's a shame.
I mean, I think there's been like $3 billion in losses. Arizona is number 5 in the country for the worst scams.
Well, if you think about
for
it,
romance.
there's so many people moving to Arizona. It's such a big retirement state. So you have people who are older and sometimes they are by themselves. They've lost a spouse or there's been a divorce or something like that. And they're older and alone and they're craving connection with somebody. And yeah, they're targets for it.
Yeah. And these people are like, trust me, I am who I am, especially now with AI. I mean, you could be talking to a dude that seems like he's your type because you filled out a form, right?
Right.
Like, I wonder if they get that information off of a dating site, what your ideal guy is.
I
And
mean,
you read that, and then you could have Kukulala, some woman on the other end in Indonesia, pretending to be this man that sounds like he loves the same things you love. He looks what you described and
Right.
everything. And it looks like he's literally talking to you.
well, it's interesting you mentioned that because you mentioned the dating sites, and there's so many of them out there. I don't even know what there are anymore, but people sign up for them. You click the boxes, agree, or whatever.
How do you know?
No, I'm
No, I'm
because
kidding. We
yeah.
met on
I
a
know.
dating site. That's
But
what I'm teasing
anytime you use any service online, you click, do you agree to our end user license agreement? Yeah, check the box, click agree, move on. Who's reading that? And if they're not keeping your information that you're filling out these forms that you're talking about, and you're putting in all this private information about, your hobbies, where you like to go, what you like to do, if it's not in the end user license agreement that they're keeping that private, then it's ripe for AI to come along, scrape that information, and then turn it into your dream person.
Yep. Sell it.
Yeah.
They could be selling your information.
Without
you
a
just
doubt.
said, selling it. And people are, looking that up. And then.
And think about this too. When it comes to these AI romance scams, I heard that the average loss for people when they fall victim to it and they send money is, $2,000 to $5,000. But for seniors, it can be upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars that they lose.
Especially if they don't have kids and they have a lot of money just sitting in the bank. They probably, you know what? There could be a little, person, their devil and angel.
The devil and angel on their shoulder.
And the devil or the angel might be warning them, going,
Right.
don't do it. And the devil's like, you have no more, you're about to die. You have money and you're not going to, what are you going to do with it anyways? You might as well risk it all.
YOLO. You only live once.
You
Go
only live
for
once.
it. Yeah, go for it.
Send it to me.
Send the money.
Send the money to our nonprofit because we could use it versus Joe Blow.
Joe Blow AI.
You know who it is. Scary. It really is.
Yeah.
So how do can you sue them? You can't really figure out where they come from.
That's the problem. It's really more of a criminal investigation. Could you sue them? Yeah, if you figured out who they were and what jurisdiction they're in. Yeah, you could sue them. You're not going to get your money back. By that point,
No.
the money's long gone. It really needs to be a criminal investigation. And here again, the law needs to catch up to AI and these scammers and be able to act quickly in tracking them down.
Yeah, because even if they're using a service, the
Right.
service can't be responsible. You're at your own risk type of thing.
Yeah, totally.
Kind of like these dating sites. If, people have gone on them, met somebody, and then got murdered. Those dating sites aren't liable.
You would have to, from a injury or death lawsuit perspective, you'd have to be able to prove that the service somehow should have known of the danger to you and should have taken steps to protect you. That's the only way, because just by the very nature of them having a service and you utilizing the service and somebody else utilizing the service, it doesn't create any type of a special relationship where they are now responsible for your safety. So there has to be something to tip them off. They have to be able to say, look, you know that this guy has gone on your site 5 different times and assaulted 5 different people. You have that information, yet you're still allowing him on there. You're responsible. Okay, that's enough. That's a lawsuit that can be brought. But just somebody, I mean, and the chances of them having that information are slim to none.
Right.
So that's why it's probably nearly impossible to sue the service.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. People just need to be very careful. And when it comes to sending money, just say no.
Right.
Just say no.
Right.
If you've never met this person in person, just say no.
What would you do if your mom was being scammed?
She's a grown-ass woman. She should know that she's not. There's nothing I can do because my mom is very independent.
I can see
I mean,
that.
I try to warn her, but my mom's an independent woman. She could be getting scammed. I don't know.
Okay. So your mom's
It
independent.
depends on the parent. Depends on the parent.
So what should people do if they feel like, all right, I think my elderly mom or dad is in some kind of an on relation?
Are they senile or are they of mind and body?
Well, let's call it of mind and body.
Then there's nothing you can do.
Just let them be scammed. Let them give away their money.
You can say to them, I'm concerned for you. And that's when they give you the middle finger and say, I'm your parent and I can do whatever I want. And there's nothing you can do. There's nothing.
Well, you can research the man or woman behind the scenes.
You don't think that's not going to piss them off?
Well, they'd have to know about it, but you can find out.
Okay. They would find out when you say, hey, they're scamming you. And then they're going to go, why'd you look? Leave me alone. This is my life.
Because you were being scammed. That's why I looked.
They don't care at that point, obviously. The writing's on the wall for some of us who want to think about it. Ken, what would be worse? Getting hit by a drunk driver or a texting driver?
Doesn't matter. Either way, you're hit. The impact does nothing different to you whether the person's drunk or whether they're texting. Now, the consequences for the person that is texting or drinking and driving are different.
They are?
Well, yeah.
So
okay.
What's the difference between distracted driving laws versus drunk driving laws?
There's not that many distracted driving laws at this point. I mean, they're starting to roll out
There is.
now.
There was the one guy that hit the policeman and he died and they had to go to jail because it was manslaughter because he was on his phone.
So, yes, that was not necessarily a distracted driving charge. It was a vehicular homicide charge, a reckless driving charge with death. But the fact of just somebody distracted driving in and of itself, the laws still have to catch up to that. But think about this. Sometimes, or most of the time right now, when somebody gets charged with a DUI, they're looking at jail time. They're looking at thousands of dollars in fines and probation fees and all these attorney's fees involved. If somebody gets pulled over for just texting and driving and distracted driving, they may get a couple of $100s in a civil fine, and that's it. So the consequences of doing it are not equivalent.
But it's probably a slippery slope because how can you prove distracted driving all the time if the person just said, oh, I was just moving my phone? And where drunk, you can do a blood alcohol test. Where somebody else, it's like a cop sees you having your phone and it's like, oh, sorry, I was just moving it.
Yeah. So with DUIs, you can't always get blood alcohol. They have the right to refuse. They have the right to.
No, I understand that.
So, but
I'm just saying it's just harder to determine distracted driving.
Right, but think about those cases. Think about the situation where somebody is arrested for drunk driving and they refuse field sobriety tests, they refuse a breathalyzer test, they refuse blood in the setting where they can request blood. Then what is the evidence for the charge of driving under the influence? and it only comes from the observations of the officer. So a lot of times with DUI cases, you'll read the reports, you'll hear the testimony of the officer, and it's, I was following this driver along. I saw him cross the center line 3 different times. He went over onto the shoulder another time. He made a fast stop at a light that he almost missed.
But hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. If I'm a cop and someone's refusing a breathalyzer, that tells me right there, and I know you're a previous prosecutor, that is ridiculous that anybody sober, if you ask me, do you mind if I take a breathalyzer because it looked like it? Please, bring it on. But if someone said to me, if a cop came to me and was like, I believe you're drunk driving, ma'am, would you get out and take a breathalyzer? Yes, I would.
Right.
Because you're confident. So
right.
I'm sorry, even though you want to say as lawyer, technically you don't, anybody that's not drinking and driving would easily say, I'd be happy to prove that you're wrong and you pulled me over and you're in the wrong. People love to tell people how they're wrong.
I agree. And you just made the most intuitive argument that a prosecutor in that situation makes is, if you weren't under the influence, why didn't you take the test? Why didn't you? And that's what the prosecutors argue. You're still left with a jury and a defense attorney saying, well, if that's the only evidence they got, then they don't have enough to prove driving under the influence. So you have to rely.
But there still is a big difference between
Sure.
charging people with distracted driving, and there's more details with the drunk driver.
But my point with that boils down to that in those DUI cases where they don't have the breath or the blood test or the field sobriety test, you have to rely on the observations of the officer. That's what happens.
Then they're getting away with it anyway.
No, but
so it isn't more expensive. Because if it's free, because they're getting away with it, then
they're not getting away with it.
Your argument is false.
Overruled. Here's why.
Listen to me.
No, here's why.
You said
Megan,
it's more expensive for the drunk driver versus the distracted driver.
Because if the officer still feels like he has enough observations, I smelled the odor of alcohol. I saw that they had glassy, watery eyes. They were slurring their words. I watched them cross the center line 3 times. Exactly my point.
So they deserve the more expensive, whereas distracted driving, I saw him hold a phone and he put it down.
Okay. But my point is this. I'm right. I'm
right.
I'm going to admit you're right eventually. I mean, that's we're married and I'm going to do that. But
happy wife, happy life.
Right. But my point is this. In order to prove the distracted driving, because originally we got on this topic and because you said, what if somebody just adjusts their phone? They will have to rely on more than that to prove distracted driving. And the statistics are that when somebody is distracted driving with texting, or we've even seen somebody watching videos, they're taking their eyes off the road.
5 seconds is like a football field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's an
and I agree.
Enormous amount of time.
But I'm just saying, because you said that they need to charge possibly distracted drivers more, like a drunk driver.
Stiffer penalties,
but I think it's harder to determine a distracted driver versus someone that reeks of tequila.
While I agree with you, that does not mean that they should not have that as a law. They should not have that as an option to charge them if they have enough and they can conclusively prove that somebody was distracted driving.
If it's, one time I was driving my car and I looked because this woman was swerving. She was legit driving with her knees while holding a soup container and eating soup. Is that considered distracted driving?
I would think so, yes.
Is it against the law to drive with your knees? Is it on the paperwork?
It's probably not.
It's not? It's not illegal?
The problem with criminal laws is they have to be narrowly construed. So you'd have to look at the definition of distracted driving in the statutes and say, does this qualify?
So could people really drive with their knees?
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it.
No, it's not what I'm asking. So a cop drives by and they're watching the road, driving with their knees, eating chicken noodle.
I think that's probably enough for a careless driving charge. I think that, arguably that's distracted driving. It's going to depend on the actual wording of the definition of distracted driving.
Okay, when was the last time you checked your phone at a red light?
Probably earlier this morning.
Do you know that every time I go to pick up because you text me at a red light, I'm not at a red light, so I wait till I'm at a red light. Skyla yells at me and says, put down your phone.
Good.
But I'm at a red light.
I mean, if you're
And
at a
then my
red
car
light,
dings when the cars go in front of me, like to let me know.
yeah. I mean, honestly, we should all put our phones away, and there's actually a setting where you can say, I'm driving, I'll text you back
But
once
isn't
I'm
it
stopped.
illegal right now in Arizona to even touch your phone while you're driving? Like even at a red light?
Yes, it is currently illegal in the state of Arizona to hold your phone and use your phone while driving. The statute does say, and I didn't look at the specific exception, it does say except while parked or stopped. So does that count at a red light? I'd have to do some research on the follow-up, sections that are cited. But yeah, at this point, you're not allowed to use your phone. But here's the thing, and this is what we were talking about: the consequences of doing that. Obviously, there's a consequence of you getting in an accident. Those are horrible, and I'm not talking about those. But in terms of penalties for doing it from the law, it's like first offense is $100, something like that. It goes up with multiple offenses. Now you're up to $250. So the consequences are not that great for doing it, but it is currently illegal and everybody needs to do it. I shouldn't have done it, stopped at the red light earlier.
Do you know you have a greater chance of getting killed by a distracted driver?
Yeah. And here's the
6 times greater.
I do believe it. I think because of the fact that people are taking their eyes off the road for such a length of time that they're not taking any evasive action. And you think about it, the statistics, and we've all learned this again and again with people who are drunk driving, it delays your reaction time, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a reaction time.
Right.
And so with taking your eyes off the road for 5 seconds up to the length of a football field, you're just not reacting at all.
Well, and I think that a lot of times drunk drivers are probably paying attention more because they don't want to get caught driving drunk, maybe.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't drink and drive, but
yeah, I think that's probably some of the time, but I think the issue really in my mind comes down to the consequences. Think about this: when somebody causes an accident and they're under the influence of alcohol and they injure somebody or they kill somebody, and we get that case and we can sue that drunk driver. Not only can we sue them, but we are entitled to claim punitive damages because it's so obvious to everybody in this world that you should not drink and drive. If somebody caused an accident with distracted driving, as of right now, you don't have the ability to claim punitive damages.
wow, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. The law needs to catch up to this
Yeah.
kind of thing. It really does.
Yeah. Well, that's something that maybe we can help change.
I would love that. I think that's important. We've seen too many cases where, I mean, is this the one you mentioned earlier, the officer that was stopped by the side of the road
Yeah.
and hit and killed by somebody who was distracted driving? Not only should there be jail time for the distracted driving, but the family should be able to sue that driver and seek punitive damages.
Have you ever seen that PSA where, I think I've shown you, where the woman goes in the other woman's lane, they pause,
Right.
and the one woman gets out, and then the younger, like 20-year-old gets out, and she says, "You're not going to do this, are you?" And the young girl goes, "But it's just my mom. I'm doing a quick text." And she said, "But I have kids in my car."
Right.
And she said, "But it's just a quick text." And
Right.
then they get back into their car and they go, boom.
Such an effective public service announcement. It really was. I mean, it really has the imagery, the visual, and yeah, the decision-making process. It's that simple of decision. Just don't do it.
But I also do think that distracted driving is even, they'll say, don't listen to certain videos while you're driving, like a relaxation, like not video. Don't listen to certain meditations or things while you're driving. I mean, I know I'll be listening to something and your mind just starts listening to what you're...
It's a phenomenon. There's actually a term for it. It's called inattentional amnesia, where you are paying attention so much to something on, even if it's just a thought that you're having, you're not paying attention, and you can go for a period of time and then you realize what you're doing and you think to yourself, I don't even remember the last block.
Right.
You know, it's inattentional amnesia. So a video that you're listening to or some type of podcast or something like that, it can cause such a distraction that you're not paying attention.
But a lot of these cars now have all of these information, these video screens and all this, and they'll say, don't watch it.
Right.
I mean, at what point do you not put that up there? At what point are the cars? I mean, I know use at your own risk.
Right.
I know some cars that we had, you weren't even able to put in, like if I'm the passenger and we're driving and I tried to put in an address once you started driving, it wouldn't let me do it.
Right.
But certain ones do. I know my Volvo, which is nice, I just say, hey, Google, directions to, and it pulls up wherever I'm going to go, which
Right.
it works every time. Our Mercedes, hello, Mercedes, take me to POI. And they're like, I cannot help you. I cannot help you. Volvo has it cornered, man.
Yeah. So the voice recognition technology is great for that. I think that those advances are really, really helpful. And I do agree with the vehicles that have those safeguards in place where if you're moving above a few miles an hour, you can't type on the screen.
Well, you know what also is hard is when we were kids, we didn't have any of that. We didn't have Google Maps. We had to learn the road.
Right.
And I know that with our kids and the younger generation that don't need to know the road and you're just looking at your phone or you're looking up on your computer screen where a lot of these cars now have it in front of you.
Right.
They try to make it where you can see it in front of you, but I'm sure there's a lot of kids that have older cars that they just have their phone propped up somewhere.
Sure.
And they don't know where they're going.
Right.
I mean, these kids don't have to memorize streets. They don't have to memorize roads because you're on Google Maps.
Right.
And it's just telling you where to go. So you're constantly looking down at your phone on where to go. Is that considered distracted driving?
If you're using a GPS system, probably not.
But you're trying to figure out, okay, it says 3 miles. You're not looking at the road. You're looking at your phone.
Yeah. What needs to happen is there's already a lot of crash avoidance technology in vehicles. And there are arguments now that when vehicles are manufactured and they don't have crash avoidance technology, that's actually a claim, a product liability claim, that it's so readily available. The cost for the manufacturers to put it in vehicles is not that great anymore. It really should be in every vehicle that's being manufactured. But
a lot of people can't afford a new vehicle, so they have
true. So we have older vehicles that's not possible. But
so should they have to change something with that, with like an emissions type thing, and say, hey, there could be something that you can put in? I don't know. That's
probably
work.
Too difficult to do.
Yeah.
To retrofit every vehicle for that, particularly when we have phones that have everything on it. But the hands-free laws are the best way to combat that right now.
Right. Well, people need to stop drinking and driving and put your phone down.
Right. And the thing that you mentioned earlier about the distracted driving, which I think was really, really brilliant as well, is, of course, anybody can drink and drive at any time of the day. And it does happen. I've seen it throughout my entire career. You'd be shocked at the time of day that some people get pulled over for drinking and driving. But there are certain days, certain times of the day, times of the night, certain holidays where the prevalence is greater, that there will be more drunk drivers out on the road.
Out on New Year's Eve or
and
something
so
like that.
We make the decision a lot of times, we're not going out on New Year's Eve. We're staying in because we just don't want to risk it. But you compare that to distracted driving, that's every day, every vehicle, every time of day, and you can't get away from it.
Yeah, so you have a greater risk of being hit with a distracted driver.
Very, very dangerous. Long. Yeah, so I thought that was a great observation you made.
So we have some exciting things going on with our nonprofit, Tones and Bones. We're meeting up with some local leaders who are excited to get a music program started in October, but we're going to be getting some information on that where we can create bands that actually get to go out locally and go to some stages and play Christmas programs and things like that, and then possibly even go to Europe and play as well on a missions trip.
I love the idea, and it's for the students, so you're getting together with the school boards as well, trying to get the schools to get kids over there, because so often you hear about kids getting music lessons, and the image in my mind is always just a kid sitting and playing his musical instrument,
nothing.
And then that's the end of it. And this program is actually getting kids with different instruments, putting them together in a band, teaching them how to play in a band, and then taking them out on tour.
Super exciting. So we're going to start having little programs, but then within those programs, we're going to always be offering and letting them know about what's upcoming with that.
And the website for Tones and Bones will be updated to start showing some of those upcoming events.
That's tonesandbones.com with an N. Tonesandbones.com. And we have fossils there too, which is pretty cool.
Yep, definitely.
Now, don't forget, we do have our defensive driving scholarship available. If you go to gerberinjurylaw.com, there is an icon that you can click on. Please fill it out, whether you're the parent or you are the person who'd like to take the class. It is 15.5 to 18. We are giving away 12. We're on number 4 right now. And it's absolutely free, and you will get a comprehensive package on defensive driving at Driving MBA.
No cost to you.
No cost to you. It's about $2,000 package.
Fantastic. Love it. Thanks for joining us.